Ladies and gentlemen, such a pleasure and an honor to be with you this evening. It's my second time in 2 years to be among your good selves to speak about different topics, including the regional situation and the difficult moments we are living in, though in the Middle East we continue to say this is, as His Majesty said, another Tuesday. Because it has been the case that we are living in one conflict after the other. Since the Arab Spring, and then ISIS, and then the whole Syrian civil war thing, before that Iraq, after that the situation in the West Bank, and then in Gaza. So to be useful to you this evening, I'd like to address what I think are the main challenges to regional peace and security, and what would be the best way to tackle these challenges, just to go immediately into it. We with academic backgrounds look always for frameworks, right? We love structuring things. So to me, the biggest challenge facing the Middle East today is this whole issue of lack of genuine cooperation between countries. So you have several countries that are not cooperating at all, and to the contrary, they are actually using whatever they can in order to fight and undermine each other. In other words, there is no regional security system. We don't have such that. Europe has something like this. In Asia, there is some settings that can help. In here, we do not have a regional system or security system that can help tackling the security threats. In other words, this is a failed region. I'm using the analogy of a failed state, right? So the Middle East is a failed region that needs help from outside. So several of us were terrified actually when we start hearing the Obama doctrine of repositioning outside the Middle East. Not because of anything else, but because we know that we need the continuous involvement of international actors like the US and like Europe. I think what's going on these days tells you how much the US is needed for the balance of power in the region, and how much they act actually as a regional player. This is how much needed. So that's the first challenge. Failed region, no regional system of security and cooperation. Second, the Arab-Israeli conflict. Why do I say Arab-Israeli? Because many Arab countries continue not signing peace treaties with Israel. To be diplomatically correct, have I been in office now, I would use a different term. I would use the Palestinian-Israeli conflict, because my country is in peace with Israel. We have a peace treaty with Israel, right? But many other Arab countries are not. This conflict, you know that it's the longest, the most complicated, and you know that it is the root cause behind many problems in the region, including hate speech and including extremism. The historic discussion has been the following. You Arabs, you Palestinians are using this issue as an scapegoat, right? As something just to justify your failure in good governance and in producing good economic policies. And there is some merit to that. And the Arab story is that no, this is a genuine problem that we need to solve. Solving it is not going to solve all other problems in the region, but it will definitely have a significant impact on other problems. So nobody says, you solve the Palestinian issue and next morning you're going to have a different Middle East. No one is going there. But at least you will have a different dynamic in the region. Truly different dynamic in the region. And things will change to the way of more cooperation, less conflicts. Much of the hate speech going on now will stop, because hate speech creates hostile environments, and that creates violence, and that creates war and blood. And it's a vicious cycle. It continues to happen. So we need to stop that. So I think this is a conflict that needs to be resolved, and needs to be resolved with genuine intention of creating some sort of justice. Someone will come and say, well, justice to the Israelis are different than justice to the Palestinians. True. But at least the majority of reasonable people can agree on some criteria of what a just solution would look like. We were talking before we started, and we said, and we're talking about the creation of a Palestinian state. Nobody has any illusions what that state would look like. We know it's going to be a state with no army. We know it's going to be a state with some limitations. But at the end of the day, it's a state, a sovereign state with full membership in the Security Council, which we failed to pass last week. And that state will bring institutions, will bring stability, will bring security, and will bring also prosperity to the Palestinian people. And it ended up being the core of the what we call a Palestinian national aspiration, right? Palestinians would like to feel their political dignity is back. And the way to do this is by creating a Palestinian state. Some of you might know that in 2000 we came, as we used to say in Texas, we came a skin of a teeth to a final status agreement. We agreed on everything, except Jerusalem. We agreed on refugees, land, borders, security. We agreed on all of that. All we found a solution for, including the hypersensitive issues. We disagreed on Jerusalem because the Israeli offer at that time, Yehud Barak, was East Jerusalem under Palestinian sovereignty, West Jerusalem, Israel sovereignty, the old city, the three neighborhoods, Christian, Islamic neighborhoods under the Palestinian sovereignty, the Jewish neighborhood under Israeli sovereignty. They agreed on this as well. And then the core of the city, the old city, which is the Haram Sharif, or the Temple Mount, 144 acre, the core of the city. The Israeli offer was what's on the land and above is under Palestinian sovereignty. What's under the land is under Israeli sovereignty. Because of, the religious story, the historic one. This is where the negotiations collapsed. And after that, the whole Israeli lift and peace camp vanished. And we continued to live with a right-wing extremist Israeli government since 2000. Just last year, we had some hope of a liberal lift in Israel, not because of regional reasons, but because of judicial reforms inside Israel. It's a serious issue, and that continued to be the case for many people. Is it the same in Jordan as in Syria, as in Saudi Arabia, as in Egypt? Yeah, it varies. I understand that. But it continued to be an issue that has a serious humanitarian dimension, continued to create so much sympathy with the Palestinians. And Israel now is clearly losing the war of image and the war of the picture, as we say, in media. And that's important. So it's a big challenge. And that challenge is a major threat to regional peace and security. And it's unfair and it's unjust. And I think it's the best interest of Palestinians, Arabs, including Jordanians, and Israelis to create a Palestinian state. No one should have any illusion that a Palestinian state is a threat to Israel. Sharon himself, if you know Sharon, Sharon is like 2 miles to the right of Netanyahu. Sharon himself said, or was about, to unilaterally withdraw from the West Bank. He did that in Gaza. He was about to do the same in the West Bank. Not because he loves Palestinians, by the way, but because he thinks that's the only way to ensure a demographic separation between the Israelis and the Palestinians. That we need to keep in mind. So that's a second challenge. I said first challenge, failed region. Second challenge, Palestinian-Israeli, Arab-Israeli conflict. It's serious, it's important. You see what's going on in Amman. I know it's not the same in different areas. I had journalists coming from the UAE and Cairo to interview me here. I was like, you don't have people there? They said, completely different game there. So in here, it's intense because of reasons you know. Third, an expansionist Iranian ambition that continue to undermine regional peace and security. We have a country called Iran that I believe is not normal in the sense that we know countries. I happen to be a professor of political science, so I know what a normal country would look like. Iran, since 1978, continue to have an expansionist policy, interfering in the business of other countries, trying to create proxies, and trying to spread the Islamic Revolution. I am not exaggerating. They brag about the fact they control 4 capitals, and they continue to say the 5th one is in the way. Jordan is at open war with them in the north. Our neighbor in the north is Syria/Iran. We have no illusions against that. This is serious. This is an imminent threat to national security. And they use public opinion, they use the Palestinian issue to fuel public opinion and to undermine the cause of the Palestinians. I should have started with this question before, but Dawood, may I ask, we're on record, right? Absolutely. ما بنقدر نعمل هيك ولا هيك. So we need to deal with this. We need to deal with this in a way that will actually help us create some level of regional peace and security. And to try to let Iran understand that, and I told this to many Iranian officials and intellectuals and professors, look, if you really want to be, what's their strategic goal? What's Iran's strategic goal? God, it's so nice to be not in official position, so you can speak whatever you want. They want to be the hegemon of the region. That's their strategic aim. They do this through proxies, interfere in the business of other countries, trying to destabilize the other countries, etc. And I keep telling them, if you really want to be the hegemon of the region, you should be doing exactly the opposite of what you're doing. You're scaring countries, so countries are doing whatever they can to undermine you. You are threatening countries, so countries are trying to do anything to protect their security. Why would you do that? Why would you send drones and missiles through the skies of Jordan? Why? Can anyone answer me that? They have direct lines through Syria and through Lebanon. There are direct borders between Syria, where Iran is, and Israel, if they want to attack Israel. They have direct lines from Lebanon and through the Houthis and the Red Sea. Why flying over the airspace of Jordan? That's a clear attempt to me to try to undermine the Jordanian national security, embarrass Jordan politically, and try to test to what degree Jordan is going to take this to what level. And I'm very proud of the fact that my country defended its sovereignty and they defended it with all the things and the means that we have, and I'm proud of the fact that my country managed to make the national security of its own an international interest. That's actually a strategic plus to me, because Jordan's security and safety is actually important to the international community. That's a plus, that's important. So we continue to do that, and what's going on in the northern border is the manual, is the playbook 101 Iranian behavior in the region. This is what they start: drugs, smuggles, weapons, and then God knows. Thank God Jordan is Jordan. It's strong. We can handle our own. We have so many experiences with them. Maybe the time will not allow to speak of that, but they wanted to come and do what they call religious tourism, and it was clear to us that it has nothing to do with tourism, everything else except tourism. They had some attempts to try to create problems in Jordan, including I remember personally an ambassador, Iranian ambassador, at some point kept telling journalists that Iran is willing to give Jordan free oil. And you know, Jordanians and media was all over me. Get free oil, right? I asked Minister of Energy, Foreign Minister, Ambassador, like, no, total lie. Now, our assessment is that he's just trying to destabilize public opinion. Now, I did not save a camera in Jordan to call him a liar, and I did. So that's the third challenge, I think. Fourth challenge is the issue of extremism and terrorism. Guys, ISIS almost defeated militarily, not 100%, but we often said defeating ISIS militarily does not mean it disappeared. And our strategy on tackling extremism had three fronts. Military, we did that, we're running out of targets, we've done that. Intelligence, finances, you know, chasing them, trying to arrest their operatives, track their finances, etc. That's Secret Service work. And then there's the ideological and media war, which is a continuous front that we need to continue work on it. We don't want what I call a G4 terrorism. G1 was Bin Laden, G2 was Zarqawi, G3 was Baghdadi. It will be a matter of time until we end up with G4. Not the communication, but the nasty guys. So we need to understand that this did not disappear, and I'm a bit disappointed to see there's a lack of attention to this issue. The last challenge I want to mention is WMDs. Guys, this is a region or the source of many programs of weapons of mass destruction. We have seen some, you know, the whole Iranian story and the deal and the non-deal, etc. You know what happened in Syria during the civil war with the sarin gas. I mean, this is a region whereby sarin gas being dropped on people from sky, right? So that's an issue that we need to continue watching for. These are the challenges. I promise you there are more challenges, but let me tell you one ticking bomb. That is unemployment and poverty. All these threats are important. And as much as they are important, we still have enough of countries, armies, weapons to stop them, right? I mean, our guys are doing an amazing job in the northern front. But the economic situation, the unemployment, the poverty is a serious issue. This is the issue whereby it can make all of us not sleep at night. You know, one of the great challenges we're living with now, this whole issue of the economic impact on Gazans and Palestinians in the West Bank because of what happened. Hundreds of thousands of Palestinians are unable to work anymore They used to work in different places. Imagine how much this is doing to the Palestinian economy. Imagine the hundreds of thousands of Palestinians unable to find jobs or money or find or provide for their families. What's the solution for this? First, I think it is important to go with what I call alliance of the willing. Don't wait until you convince everybody in the region to come and be a moderate, pro-security and safety and stability country. Go with whoever is on board. Key to this, some sort of a settlement to the Palestinian issue. That's key. As much as countries can go peace with Israel, with the Abraham Accords or others, it will still be challenging to any country to go further without addressing the Palestinian issue. So that's important. That's one thing. Keep working on it. The US can help significantly because it's the party that everybody trusts in the region. Trust, wait, can help. Second, I think it's about time to try to have some reasonable discussion after what happened on October 7. With all the horrific things that happened, it's important to start talking reasonable politics and talk to Israeli sound politicians that a good neighbor and a peace treaty is what will bring you genuine stability, not strong armies. The theory of safe borders is a fantasy. It doesn't exist anymore. You cannot continue occupying millions of people and expect them to be okay with it. You need to give them some sort of governorship, institutions that they can run their own business on their own. We need to speak to the Israelis that you need to understand the importance of countries with peace treaties with you. Jordan in specific suffered so much because of the lack of trust and cooperation from the Israeli government. I can give you many examples of that, including the Red Dead Canal. Netanyahu himself killed that project. He took this whole file from the Minister of Water and Irrigation and he put it in his office. He greeted a guy who killed Jordanians in the embassy in Amman as a hero, insulting 7 million Jordanians. Not cooperating at any level. That's a problem. If you don't value the importance, the strategic importance of Egypt and Jordan and the Palestinian Authority, you have a problem. You have a real issue. And you're not putting the interest of your country before. You're putting the interest of you personally before. So that's another thing that we need to do and should do. I'll finish with this point. Third, I think it's important to continue to engage politically the countries that are in the orbit of Iran.